Well, I decided to make a video about this, and here it is, the Gameboy Color. I got this from a car boot sale a couple months ago, and one thing I find quite surprising is just how well this thing's held together. Now, the Gameboy Color was introduced in 1998 and discontinued in 2003, and these pretty much no rattles or anything that you wouldn't expect. There's a fault in this, but I'll save that to the end of the video. Unfortunately, I don't have many games for the Gameboy Color. I do have Rayman, and of course I've got a Pokemon game. Although the Gameboy Color could also play original Game Boy games. And there's also this, which is actually quite an interesting thing. This is Perfect Dark, and on the back it's got a rumble pack. So basically you put a battery in here, close it up, and while you're playing, the vibration goes on in here. The one fault is it's kind of weird, because in most controllers the vibrating happens in your hand, whereas this it happens in your fingers, which can be a bit strange. I do have a couple of in-box games like this, Star Wars Pod Racing, which, yeah, it's in box, a very ratty box, and this, Tetris 2, which, I don't know if you can pick it up on camera, is just about mint. And it says, I think, somewhere there, it's made in 93. This would have been made 99. You can probably see the difference. Now, unlike a lot of modern consoles, the Game Boys didn't have a wireless or anything. Well, it predates wireless. Instead, what you had to do was plug a connector in here to another Game Boy, and then you could trade Pokemons, whatever it was you did with them. The one thing was that it didn't actually connect to original Game Boy games, which is what I had back in the day, when all my friends had Game Boy Colors. Now I'll show you some gameplay footage. Unfortunately my save file corrupted, which is really annoying because it had like a level 30 Pidgeot. But should show you the basics. Yeah, I got Pokegear, which I'll probably jump cut to somewhere more interesting. Okay, a battle. One thing you may notice, this isn't backlit. Apparently there was a Game Boy Light that was, but for some reason they didn't put it in this. And off we go. Now if you want to pick one of these up, I got this for £20, which isn't too bad a price for it. And it's not a bad bit of nostalgia from our childhood if you grew up in the 90s. The one thing, plastics 10-15 years ago weren't terribly good, and this is the fault I was saying about this earlier. These back things, quite often they break. In fact, it's broken on this one. As you can see, it's held on with tape. And I've seen the replacements for these costing more than what I paid for the console, so it's pretty much up to you if you replace it or just keep the broken one, like I did.